What's going on, folks? It's Jeremy with Care Services and Blamo Tutorials, coming back for another installment in the Intro to Programming and Logic that we're going through right now. Next, we're getting into the decision structure, and more importantly, today we're getting into case structure, which is a part of decisions. And going through our program, this is actually one that has been requested, so like I said, you can always comment, rate, subscribe, and send us a message on what you would like to see, and maybe we can work it in. Alright, so we're not forgetting about anybody. I know there's a couple other people that sent me stuff, but I gotta get first things first, and let's get started. Alright, today we're working on a program for Roman numerals. And what we're doing inside this one is we're going to design a program that prompts the user to enter a number within the range of 1 through 10. The program should display the Roman numeral version of that number. If the number is outside the range of 1 through 10, the program should display an error message. So right here, it's telling you what you're doing. We're going to store something, or we're going to display an error message if one of these things that we're storing is not ready. So on this one, what we'll do is we'll come through and we know that we're going to have to set up a variable. We're going to set up that variable as num. On this one, the rule of thumb is 4. If you've got a decision and you're treeing off right here and it's going deeper than 4, they often tell you to go ahead and do a case structure. And that's what we're going to do, and that's what we're going to try to get started with today. Alright, so let's move on. Alright guys, like I said, I get a little long-winded sometimes, and sometimes I don't explain enough. So what I've done is I went ahead and took the problem set that is right here, and I have read it, and I pseudocoded to what I think I would do. Now what I did on this one, or what I have done, should I say, is I pseudocoded as an if-else. So if one thing, then the other. Else, it says else at the end. So hopefully once we go in, you'll learn your if statements and if-else and all this good jazzy stuff. So let's get started with the coding real fast, and we'll go from there. Alright, so what we're doing here is we have declared right here that num is going to be the variable we store our number into. So as any other program, you want to display the output of what you want them to give you. So here I'm just basically saying I will convert any number from 1 to 10 into a Roman numeral format. Then I'm also displaying it here. I'd have like some kind of break. Then on a display here, notice I've got my semicolons. It's a hard habit to break, and when you're escaping certain things. This is actually C++, and I'll show you the program I built actually. But then I'm going to display to take in the information, so I'm asking the user to please enter a number from 1 to 10. When we input the number, we'll start our structure with our if statements. So here we input the num that the user entered, and then we ask the if statement to see if there's an error. So, and this is when you're dealing with just the if-else, and I'm going to switch this over in a second. I'll show you that. But here I'm going to go ahead and call my if statement, and inside the if statement I'm going to set up my parameters. Here I'm going to have if num is less than 0, and in the two pipes, which is an or statement. So if the num is less than 0, or, so either one of these, or num is greater than 10, I'm gonna take out my validation here, my error, and I'm gonna display, well, here I'm displaying 3 things. I'm saying you didn't pay attention. Please run the program again, then enter a number between 1 and 10. If you're gonna display this, I'm used to C++, so my display here would be a C out. That way I could put all these on a different line. So don't let this confuse you. This is still going to be one displayed error message in one section. So hopefully we can understand our less than and greater than symbols here. So if not, we got bigger problems on our hand, guys. So let's go again. If num is less than 0 or num is greater than 10, we're going to display our error message here. Else, if num is equal, make sure you got your double equal signs to 1, then we display the output here and we convert it to the Roman numeral 1. Same thing, and we go through this all the way down, as you can see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way to 10. Now, if you could imagine your decision structure you would have to do for 10 things, and technically it would have to be 11, well, 10 decisions and then 11 with your false, that would end your statement. But you know, you're going through all these things, and I'm going to go ahead and flip down now, and I'm going to show you what the case structure would be. Already, you know, you're going to have the same 10 lines here. You're going to be displaying something. But what we're doing here, and I should have indented this a little bit for you, I'm sorry. We're going to select our test expression for our case structure here. And in mine, I'm going to select Rom num. That's for Roman numeral. Inside of this case structure, I'm going to have all 10 cases, and then you'll see here I'm ending with a default. This default right here is the error message. You've given a number that's outside of what we asked for. Try again. So you can see where it differs from where I did this to where I did this. Already, you can see less code. So if you're coding less, you're going to be throwing out a flowchart that's going to be less, which at the end of the day will really help you, I hope. So pause the video here, look at the differences between a standard if-else statement here and then the case structure, and try to go through here and see what it is, how I did it, why I did it. You're still just displaying the number. So I mean, it's a win-win situation for everybody right now, you know what I mean? So let's go ahead and go on down, and I'll show you the flow charting. On this one, what I've done is I've had to split it. When you've got 10 structures that you're having to, or 10 decisions that you're putting into one structure, it's going to take up a full page, and sometimes more than that. So what I've did is what I've done, sorry my English, is I've set up my, well, go back up here. I've set up the beginning of what we did. I've set up my program to start. I've declared my num. I've displayed here, and I'm still putting the same escape key there. But I've displayed, telling them that I'm going to convert it. Then I ask them for that number. Then I input that number. And right here is the infamous home base. And does anybody remember what this is for? Anybody? Anybody? Bueller. Bueller. That's right. Off-page content. So looking at this, we can see that we're going to be somewhere off-page. So, which is good, right? That's what we want to do. We want to be off the page. And for some reason my page just flipped out. So let's go back to where we were. Alright, so here, so you know we're going to be off page. So hopefully this part here is really self-explanatory. We've done it the past few tutorials. You should understand by now what your process boxes are, what your input-output data box is, you know, your start and end clause here. And I didn't do a function on this one, but hopefully you know what a function is as well. And then right here, the infamous off page. We are going to another page, and that page is going to be marked with the same home base, with the same number 1, so that when we turn our work in or show somebody, or someone comes in after we've left, they can look at our flow charting and say, hey, I know what they're doing here. Alright, so let's go on to the next section. Alright, like I said, this gets really big, so it's kind of squished in a little bit, so you'll have to really look hard. But all we've done here is each case structure is displayed right here. So from 1 to 10 all the way through, and then here's our default. What I've done is I set up our decision here for Roman numeral. Which one are we going to select? What this does is on this decision it goes through and it goes, okay, I'm going to go over here to 1. Is this it? No. 2, no. 3, no. 4, no. 5, no. And if once it hits it, it stops. Once it picks the number that they've put in, you know, guys, this is like nanoseconds. It's so fast that, you know, dumbing it down so slow is not even worth doing. But just know this is like a split-second decision. but it runs through each one of these until it hits the one that is correct. And if it goes through 1 through 10 and didn't find the number that they selected, like 10.2 or 5.9, it's a way to error out that. But here it's going to display, you know, you've given us a number outside of what we asked for. Try again. So when you do your case structure, this is the setup, and you're going to see here in a second because I didn't do it here, is each case structure you number right here in your flow charting. That way when you're coding out the work, you'll be able to see it. So here you see what's got a little distorted. I rushed through this just trying to get it done for you. But here what I've done is I've taken the same thing I had, and then I went ahead and ended the program right here. So once it goes through this case structure, it's going to display whichever one it chooses, and then it's going to come down off that one, and it's going to end the program. But all of these have to be together because it's almost like a loop, so to speak. It's looping through each one of these case structures. So I mean, it could be, and for those of you that do like ActionScript, you might be looking at this saying, hey, that looks like a switch, and it is. A case structure is just like a switch statement. You're going through each case and then, you know, going through and doing what you got to do. But anyway, back to the programming logic. So here we've numbered each one. So whatever they enter here between 1 and 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, has to be inside this parameter there. If not, then it goes to the default of, hey, you're a screw up, you're messing with me here, aren't you? So this was a very fast, maybe not as thorough as I would like, but the first time I'd done this was like 25 to 30 minutes. So I've been averaging that. So I didn't want to split it up into two. You know, I figured if I could get through this and you can understand briefly, and then you can go back through and look at it again and see, okay, well, here is the if-else statement, which I'm not going to show you in this one because that is a lot of code or a lot of flow charting. Maybe I'll do that, I don't know, probably not, because I don't like it. And then here you're seeing, and then you see what I've done with turning this into a case structure and, you know, making this thing work, you know. And I mean, there's going to be things like you're now seeing the pipes coming down. So we haven't really talked about that, but inside your book you should learn what your logical operators are. You know, the and, or not. You know, you've got to learn those. So I would suggest, if you do not know, well, I guess I can tell you, but the and is the ampersand symbol. It's a double that. So I mean, those are your major ones that you're going to use are ands and ors. The not, I wouldn't worry too much about, because the only time you're not going to use and or, you know, you're doing something wrong. So and or will have a decision structure to where you don't have to worry about the not. But if so, you're gonna, you know, like if you use a not equal to, something like that, that would be easy. You're using an exclamation point or mark, and you put it by the equal sign. So I mean, you know, it's all on that what you want to learn. If you want me to go in depth with that, you know, talking about logical operators, I can do that. But I had to get this one done so that hopefully my peeps can see this, learn it, and see what we're doing, why we're doing it, how we're doing it. And if you got any questions, guys, just comment, rate, subscribe, and we'll come back with another decision structure that will actually be using if-else statements, and, you know, show you both ways. But not this one. This is too big. I would say anything over 4, turn to a case structure. It's a lot easier, and you'll see that here in a second. So that's about it. I know I rambled a little bit here, guys. I'm not feeling good today. You know, I've been trying to rush through work and everything else, but want to get this up so I can help y'all out. So show the love, guys. Go by facebook.com/careservicesnc. That's care with a K. Press the like button. Let us know what you think, and as always, comment, rate, subscribe. Alright, guys, have a great day.